And coming in for... Yeah, and just like that, the wrecking balls in Overload actually do pop out of truck mode pretty often, but that's a weird sentence to start. But hey guys, this is Arnoldless98, and welcome to my behind the scenes video for my Revenge of the Fallen Devastator. And I'm guessing you guys have already seen this video. If not, you should definitely check it out. I put a lot of effort into this guy, and yeah, I want to talk more about how Devastator was made during the video, but I just didn't have the time since that video was already an hour long, and I kind of didn't want to push it, so that's why this video is here. And yeah, Devastator was a really big project for me to make, and it took me about like 3 months, if you haven't heard, and yeah, he's been kept secret for some really long time, so I didn't show any work in progress pictures up until he was shown at Brick Fair, and then my official video, so yeah, there you go. I know a lot of people are probably curious about how he was made or what my process was behind him. And yeah, I know a few people asked for instructions on this video. I don't think I'm going to get to them or do them at all, simply because he's just giant and 6,000 pieces, and even though I do have the stud.io files, they're very incomplete. Actually, I might have mix masters to share if you want to make just the Devastator head, but the rest are just like way different from his final product. And in addition, if you want instructions, I'm assuming you have the money to make him, because he has 6,000 pieces, and he might cost like $600. Luckily, I only spent like half that amount bricklinking him since I already had the pieces, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you'd better spend your money on something else. And the rest of this video is probably going to be me just showing a bunch of pictures and talking, kind of like a slideshow. And yeah, I didn't really have this actually planned out. Like, I took a bunch of work in progress pictures, not because I saw this video coming, but because I was sharing them with some friends. And the only two people who knew about Devastator before Brick Fair were my friends Yale, also known as 97 Lego Maniac, and Dominic, also known as Psycho Brick. We had a little Lego Transformers group chat, and I would just share my progress on Devastator once in a while. Probably because I trusted them not to spill the beans, and also they have made their own Lego Devastators, so they could give you some input. So yeah, and that's where I got all the pictures from. And before we start, I have a bunch of these little reference pictures. This is how I made Devastator, using these pictures, and by watching the movie scene again and again and again. Man, it must have been hard to animate Devastator, as hard as it is to build him here. And yeah, let's start with this little slideshow, and let's go back 4 months ago, all the way to April. Yeah, so the head was the first thing I worked on because it's so complicated, and I wanted to make sure his head wasn't too small, and yeah, I came up with this nice origami thing. But my original plan was to actually the side drum of the truck would actually split and like shift like really far out, and then the head would be hidden inside the drum and inside the cab of the truck, and then the cab would flip backwards. But then I figured out this is a much better solution, because having the cab actually as the head, just like in the movie. And yeah, these two things were actually the first things I've designed for Devastator, because back then in March I was actually working on my robot Mixmaster, and I had two designs for his drum shell. The larger one went to Devastator, obviously, and that's the one you see right here. And I also started to try the Hightower, because I was thinking about making the robot version of Hightower first, but I'll get to him later. And the final product was pretty much the tread you see here, just extended quite a bit. And then after that, that's all I had for spring break, and I had Mixmaster's video, the robot Mixmaster. And then flash forward to the summer, I just went straight on working on Mixmaster, the head Mixmaster. Oh, I did actually take some time, because I did have to work on Dark the Moon Prime first, and messing around with his trailer too, and Wheelie. And yeah, you can see here, this is like the final product of the head. He's probably the most complete of all the prototypes as I could get, since I really wanted to nail all the little details. And yeah, the final product exactly like this, just with the color changed, and maybe the back changed a bit. And the next part I worked on was Scavenger, obviously. Back then, Mixmaster just sat on top of Scavenger. He kind of like plugged in like he was going to like a parking garage. And yeah, Scavenger had some pretty similar details from his prototype, but a lot of things did change later on. And next up was Overload. He was actually really hard for me to design. I just didn't know what kind of scale his vehicle mode was because I couldn't find too much information on his truck mode, but yeah, this is pretty much similar to his final product, and I had a lot of trouble trying to figure out how to plug him onto Scavenger. He actually just connects by studs, which it seems very flimsy, but it actually holds together very well. And here's a shot of all the 3 vehicles I had so far at that point. This is like mid-May, and they look pretty nice and kind of to scale. And then after the main torso, I worked on the 2 legs, and it took me some time. Long haul gave me a lot of trouble because I didn't have all the joints for him, so only half of him had the correct joints, so the rest the other half of him was really flimsy. And yeah, here are the 3 leg components: the yellow dump truck and Rampage, and then long haul. And yeah, after that, yeah, you can see the 2 legs here standing. I was worried they wouldn't be the same length, but I figured something out. So they actually are pretty matched up well. And then you can see in this next picture, this is actually like the arm component, the kind of arm port for Scavenger for the arms. This was changed like later because his arms would not be able to support the weight on this tiny ratchet joint, even though it was kind of closer to the movie since they kind of do come from his excavator arms. And yeah, I put all the limbs together. I made like a really fast Hightower and Scrapper prototype. I just didn't have that many joints at this point, so they're just thrown together. But as you can see here, this is pretty much a completed Devastator at this point. This is all I had for the summer before I went to college. But yeah, he looks pretty similar to his final product in terms of limb placement. His head is set really far back, and I'll fix that later, but it looked kind of strange because I wasn't sure if I got the body right, but the body was right, but the head placement was just kind of strange. And yeah, that's all I had for that part of the summer. Then I went to school. I threw everything in a bag and grabbed a handful of pieces. Yeah, I'm glad I chose a lot of good pieces because I would have been kind of screwed if I didn't. And I didn't really work on Devastator for a few weeks because I was busy uploading a Prime's trailer to stud.io and working on some instruction videos for Shockwave. And yeah, I took everything out, and yeah, I went to work on Scavenger first because he just had little bits and details I left out. And yeah, this is the kind of finalized prototype. The other half of him is kind of gone because I didn't have the pieces, but he's pretty much there. The hydraulics were actually designed mainly on stud.io. I just didn't actually have the pieces to make them, which I'm glad they worked out in the end. And then you can see the final product where he is connected to Mixmaster. Actually, this is actually after I designed his new shoulder joints, which use the heavy ratchet joints. Unfortunately, those only move in one kind of like, they don't move in too many directions, so he has a series of 2 of those, and it provides a nice strong support. And then this is the back of Scavenger. Yeah, he has a big hole in there because I actually did have the vacuum cleaner gimmick planned for a while. It was just plugged down the middle, and that's why his vortex grinder was so hollow, as I intended. And yeah, after that, all the rest of his components were on stud.io, well, the prototypes, well, except the arms. And you can see the arms here. I didn't get any work with them done. You can see the yellow bulldozer's hand design is so much different than what I had here, and Scrapper and Hightower. Then I got to work on Scrapper, and Scrapper turned out pretty nice. He's a nice big loader, and I nailed the hand design too. I wanted to make sure his hand could support the weight, so I would just push down on the hand to make sure nothing really crumbles, so it came out pretty nice. And Hightower and the yellow bulldozer never got prototypes besides that previous picture, so they're mostly done digitally, which is kind of risky for me because I didn't really test out how to plan out in real life. And then after that, here are all the components together. Funny thing, I never had the arms and legs of Devastator together at a single point in time, like the kind of completed prototypes, because I didn't have enough of those heavy ratchet joints. So as soon as I was working on Scrapper, the legs were pretty much taken apart, so he was either a body with one arm or a body with two legs. And yeah, this is right before I took everything apart because I needed to bricklink everything and made sure that I actually owned some of the parts I had. And then I had to bricklink everything, and I was really worried about the price. That was my biggest concern. Because I didn't know how many pieces he would actually have on the final product. And Scavenger gained a lot of parts on stud.io because he had lot of details I glossed over when I made the prototype, especially with the vortex grinder, because I took up a lot of cheese slopes and little clips. And yeah, I just ordered all the parts, sorting everything out. The total didn't come too bad. I was expecting like 500, but he came around like 300, I guess. Well, that price was kind of that combined with Prime's trailer because I was breaking that at the same time. And then after college, I went back home for the rest of the summer, and yeah, these were all the packages waiting for me. This is by far my largest bricklink order I've ever placed. And you can see that's my largest single bricklink order. They kind of just shoved all the parts in there, and yeah, the most tedious part was sorting everything out. I kind of underestimated how long it would take to build him, probably because I never built a large Lego set in quite some time. And yeah, mostly just sorting and stuff. It went pretty smoothly though. And you can see Rampage was the first one done. You can see him next to my other Rampage. And then next up you see the legs and the Overload. And he actually stands on his own with Overload on top. Kind of weird, but yeah. And then there you go. There is Scavenger. Scavenger is definitely it was very cool seeing him in person, fully built up, and yeah, the hydraulics worked pretty well, and just a few panels needed to be sorted out. And then after that, there are the rest of the components. This pretty much took a week, and after that, I only had a few days before Brick Fair. So this is 2 days before Brick Fair. I decided to test out the combination. You can see the legs kind of just slid off the table. I just wasn't very careful, and they just broke. Luckily, Long Haul didn't fall apart too much, which is good. And then after a while, here's the final combination of Devastator. This is the day before Brick Fair, or leaving for Brick Fair, and yeah, I was really happy how this turned out. He didn't change at all from before Brick Fair to filming the video, so there's not really nothing much going here. And then you can see the back. I don't know why it's my favorite view, probably because you get a better view of his limbs. And then this is the big day. This is Brick Fair. I had all the Constructicons laid out in vehicle modes, and then I did transform them like before the public days for some of my friends, and it was pretty fun. His transformation went pretty smoothly, despite being in front of a crowd of people, but yeah, and there he is in robot mode, and you can see Dominic's or Psycho Brick's mini Devastator next to him, along with his skids and mud flaps. And then here's a shot I didn't show off from Brick Fair because I didn't announce Devastator yet, so here he is with all my other Transformers, and you can see the sheer like size of him. And yeah, you can see all my little Transformers, a little still shot, and then there's the rest of the table, mostly with my last night stuff. Yeah, and here's the final shot. Well, we were all cleaning up, me and my fellow Lego Transformer builders, 97 Lego Maniac, Psycho Brick, Logan Film Studios, and BX Bricks. We took a comparison of our primes and also a comparison of our Devastators. You got mine, BX Bricks' G1 Devastator. I know I had quite a few people ask if I was making a G1 Devastator. Probably not, but you could definitely check out BX Bricks' G1 Devastator because that thing is very impressive. And then the small Dominic's or Psycho Bricks, a very small Devastator. And yeah, that is it. After that, I had to build the giant lighting box to hold Devastator in, and also buy a little turntable because I didn't want to pick him up and move him around. But yeah, I'm sorry the video came a bit later, but yeah, that is it. And that is it for my behind the scenes video. Did you find it kind of interesting? I know more people will be interested in this if they build like Lego projects and stuff. But yeah, I just want to share how this thing came to be. And yeah, this is actually my last video for the summer because I'm leaving or already left for college like this week. And yeah, I don't have any other videos planned while I'm away because I don't have any more instruction videos planned, and you know, after this was my last one for a while. I did tease it at the end of Devastator's video. I don't think anyone saw it, but it's this little dude here. This is actually Bumblebee from the Bumblebee movie. I got a little head start It feels a little strange working at such a small scale again, but I doubt anything will ever be bigger than Devastator. And yeah, that is it. This has been a very exciting summer. I only made 4 Transformers actually, maybe 3 or 11, depending how you count. It's a Wheelie, Dark Moon Prime, his trailer, and then Devastator. So yeah, there you go. But Devastator's piece count definitely makes up for the lack of quantity of Transformers. But yeah, that is it. I'm going back to school, so my next video might be fall break or Thanksgiving break or I don't know, some break, but I'll try to work on Bumblebee a little bit more when I go home, but that is about it, and I'll see you guys in a while, and yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video here.